How about a little bit of story time to start this video off? Because I think too many of you forget that my name is That Mill Guy. This Shaft is, of course, the actual name y'all can call me by, but That Mill Guy has an origin to it. That's what the story time is. Way back at the LGS, back in the beginning days of me playing Magic, I was, of course, very interested in Mill. I played it so often that I was known for being That Mill Guy. People would look across the table and be like, oh, there's That Mill Guy, you know, and they'd start going into their binder and putting their Emrakul's into their sideboard and whatever. Plebs aside, you know, we've come a long way from the days of Glimpse the Unthinkable. We've come a long way from the days of Mesmeric Orb. Modern Mill is flourishing in so many ways. A lot of players out there have innovated, they've succeeded, and continue to do so with the Archetype. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the future of Mill right now and talk about some of the history and the psychology behind it. Why many of you watching this video, you hate Mill because honestly, you suck in Magic. I'm being a little hyperbolous here, but there is a psychological effect to it that I think is very relevant from an article actually posted by Mark Rosewater almost pretty much over a decade ago at this point. And I thought it's still relevant to this day. I want to use this article to both talk about that and again, some of the future that we can look at with Mill as we have Modern Horizons 3 just printed with largely almost no support. We have some sideboard pieces, but nothing that really says Mill and helps us out. There obviously are going to be future pieces to it. We've made Mill a eternal keyword at this point, and so of course things are looking up. Horizons are bright, and we look forward with our heads held high as Mill players. So let's hop right into an article by Mark Rosewater. Article called Milling About, January 11, 2010. Again, over a decade ago. Welcome to Milling Week. This week I'll be telling you everything you possibly ever want to know about the intersectionality of milling and Magic design. Don't know what milling is? Don't worry. When I say I'll tell you everything about milling, I mean I'll start from the beginning, including what milling is. Hint, it's Magic slang that all started from Millstone. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole article here. I'm going to link it down below for all of you interested in it. And there's so many YouTubers out there that have talked about the history of Mill. It's not something that I want to do because so many folks have done it better than me. But the point of this article that I really want to get across here is I'm going to scroll down a little bit, right? So you talk about some of the Mill stalwart pieces, you know, Time Twister, Millstone being the original start of it, some stuff with Felden's Cane, being able to shuffle stuff back in, just Felden's Cane, Altar of Dementia, Vision Charm right now, but really it's kind of this bottom section here. So this is the whole section I want to talk about. So R&D was worried about this card. So Arcslogger, it says red for a 4/5 beast. It says red, remove the top 10 cards of your library from the game. Arcslogger deals 2 damage to target creature or player. You can imagine how in a deck, maybe an EDH that's playing Izzet colors, you play Arcslogger and you pay a bunch of red, mill out your entire deck, and then you kind of Thassa's Oracle. So that's kind of like one of the many things was they were worried about this card because it was pretty powerful. It came out, but when it came out to very lukewarm response. Players, we learned, just didn't want to play it. Yes, there were some spikes who got what the card was doing. From this, we learned an interesting lesson. Let's say a player plays a game and never draws their awesome dragon. Are they upset? No, not majorly so. Players get that they're not going to see every card every game. Heck, even your 1-ofs, your 2-ofs sometimes. Heck, even your 4-ofs. It happens. But sometimes your most powerful card is just on the bottom of your deck, right? Sometimes especially when you're playing Pauper, some decks don't have any shuffle effects. When you scry and you mulligan, you don't see that card ever again. Let's take the same player and have him get milled. Among the cards that get put into his graveyard is his dragon. We've discovered that it's a rather upsetting moment for most players. Seeing their best card go to the graveyard is a big morale blow. But why? What's the difference between the card getting milled and it just being at the bottom of the deck? Logically, very little. And that's where all of you mill haters are cope. The card sitting in your deck is potentially your next draw. Sure, you might never draw it, but you don't know that. The lack of knowledge about where it is gives a player hope. A similar phenomenon can be seen with lottery tickets. A man buys a lottery ticket for a $50 million payout. The ticket is exciting, until the moment he learns he's not the winner. Until the drawing, the ticket is potentially $50 million. That's exciting, and even if the match says the chance of getting that money is infinitesimally small. So essentially what this is saying is Mill is a solution or a circumvention to the loot box dopamine rushes that y'all get. And so the battle pass system of modern day gaming is ruining y'all minds and making you hate Mill more. That was a bit of a stretch, but I have my problems with modern AAA gaming that I thought I would just ease into there a little bit. Let me know in the comment section down below how y'all feel about battle passes in games. But anyway, the result of this lesson is twofold. First, we are very hesitant to make mill players mill themselves. Thassa's Oracle? Anyway, this was 2010. So, second, we have to be aware that milling has a stronger psychological impact than logic would assume. Players are much more likely to feel milling effects being stronger than they actually are. Also, because of this reaction, we made a conscious decision to limit how much milling we'll do in any one set. Sometimes getting milled out is okay, but having it happen all the time would be problematic. First of all, limited players, I get it. 40 card decks, maybe it's too powerful. Maybe we shouldn't be printing Glimpse the Unthinkable at common in a limited environment. Sure. I'm telling you, if you genuinely hate mill as an archetype without reason, like if you were like an amulet player and you hated mill, I get it. I won't hate you for it, right? Like if it's something like that, but if you genuinely hate mill and you don't think it should exist in this game, I think you're a bad Magic player. I'm gonna put it out there. I'm not here to be nice to no one. I can be, but no. When it comes to the archetype that I name myself after, the one that I stand for, the one that I live and die by, if you hate it, yo, you suck. Look at this. It's psychological. It's psychological. What are y'all doing? Like, I've seen, maybe not Spike. I've seen some soft saltile moments from it, but we have clips of different players, pro players in the mill Discord salting off so bad. We have this clip of Spike, who is aspiring Spike, who leaves the league because he queues up game 1 against a mill player, leaves the league, puts Emrakul into his sideboard and queues back into the league. And then I have another one by Devin O'Donnell. All right, for a Doomwake, for those of you who had this whole like 5-minute rant playing like Living End or Cascade combo, hating on mill, calling it like bad. Oh, you suck. Okay. In that moment, I'm not trying to hate on people. Okay. It's fine. Now, Devin has done nothing personally wrong to me. Just in that moment, your opinion is trash. Okay. You suck as a player in that moment, but you as a person, fine. You've done nothing wrong to me. But anyway, it happens to the best of us, but doing it unironically, Mark Rosewater is telling you that you're telling on yourself, right? And I may be extrapolating a little bit, but that's what I wanted to point out here. Mill is going to stay because we see that the psychological damage that we can inflict on players is important. Because if we are allowed to double grief our opponents out of the game, then why not mill them out as well? Why can't I always open my hand up with 3 archive traps to punish your fetch lands when my opponent can about have 25% of the time have double grief up? Why? Come on. I have rights too as a mill player, subject to discretion, of course. But let's talk about the next piece. So this was by a user in the mill Discord, which kind of like sparked this whole video here. But he asked, and he was mentioning that he's a Quebec local, so French is his first language, and so some of this might have been lost in translation. But just learned in a podcast that you are, so this is referring to Mark Rosewater in his blog, the father of the mill mechanic. Was sad that there's no new tools for Dimir Mill in Modern Horizons 3. Me too. I mean, Modern Horizons 2, we were pretty spoiled. Baldur's Gate gave us Tasha's Hideous Laughter, and Fractured Sanity was out of Modern Horizons 2. So, like, literally archetype defining cards coming out of those sets. But are there any incoming for mill decks, not self-mill, which is good as a distinction in Duskmourn? The mechanic would be fitting with the setting. Horror and mind bending, and we see a lot of that. I mean, take a look at Glimpse the Unthinkable. Just look at the art for that. Someone's mind fracturing and glimpsing, quote unquote, the unthinkable, right? So it fits that horror theme. So maybe. So this is Mark Rosewater's response. I can't talk to the future, but we will be doing more mill effects, even if I can't say when or where. Fair enough. I should stress that I did not invent mill. Millstone, the first card of mill cards, was in Antiquities and was designed by East Coast playtesters Scaff Elias, Jim Lynn, Dave Petty, and Chris Page, with the help from Joel Mick. Shout out to those 5 for making up mill. I was a champion of milling and made a lot of cards with it. So shout out to Mark Rosewater. I may have a lot of criticisms for your design of the game, but you always got to pass because you really were the one that triumphed behind mill. I'm here to carry on that trophy in a small way. So is looking forward, I think in general, I am frustrated that Modern Horizons 3 didn't have an option for us mill players, but I think I'm ultimately okay because it can't always be us getting tools. We don't get tools every set, but it would be nice to see all modern archetypes touch a little bit, and it really did feel like a lot of modern archetypes were helped out a little bit, but maybe not all of them. I mean, we saw big boost for Merfolk, big boost for the scam decks. We got some combo decks out of it. We saw Storm come back in a big way. So we had a lot of archetypes honestly make a big comeback, and I'm happy to see that. It does feel like Modern is changing, but also has some aspects of similarity in it. And obviously decks are always having to be evolved upon, but it's nice to see that, you know, decks like Mill, decks like heck, even Modern Merfolk don't need to have drastic changes to it. You can get behind these like kind of stalwart archetypes and just make adjustments as sets come along, but really your core is the same until a big evolution comes along. And that's what I kind of like about it. Like, you had a sideboard card here, you had a new utility land. Like, I mean, Cephalid Coliseum has been absolutely insane, and I called it. That card is absolutely bonkers, not only for drawing yourself, but there are so many situations where you need just that extra oomph to get your opponent out, and forcing your opponent to draw 3 cards is absolutely insane. But anyway, that's where I want to end off this video. Let me know what you think about the future of Mill, where Mill is from, the psychological damage that Mill has on it. I just want to kind of put that out there. I just thought it was a fun little piece. Any chance I can promote Mill, I'm here for it. But again, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Happy milling, and I don't know, happy Magic playing.